Hey, it's Angela Marie Hutchinson, founder of Breaking Into Hollywood. This podcast is a beta test produced using Google's Podcast LM with AI voices. The following content is based on actual research from several trusted sources of mine. If you share or reuse this info, please credit Breaking Into Hollywood. Thank you and enjoy.
Hey, we're doing something a bit different, giving you an inside look. We call it Mandate Monday.
That's right.
And we're a source for this.
It comes from Angela Marie Hutchinson. She's, head of IP and talent ventures at RPM Talent Agency.
A major player.
Absolutely. And she also founded Breaking Into Hollywood. Her insights are, well, they're gold.
For sure. So when we talk about this information today, think of it as intel or mandate.
Yeah. Let's unpack it.
Okay, well, starting with Hallmark, what's fascinating is just how clearly they define their purpose, their brand. It's really all about creating connections, stories of love, joy, positivity. The brand words that keep coming up are uplifting, relatable, safe, optimistic, comforting, family appropriate.
Right. So it's fundamentally about making you feel good, a deliberate strategy maybe.
Absolutely. It feels like a deliberate counter-programming move in a world that's often, edgier or more complex.
That's a really strong identity. So how does that translate into the kind of talent they're looking for? And maybe what are they actively avoiding?
Well, they look for real, relatable, down-to-earth people. Yeah. Genuinely the girl or guy next door type. And they specifically steer clear of anything seen as divisive, superficial, harsh, or stressful. Authenticity and approachability are key.
Makes sense. And what about where this content appears? Streaming first.
Yeah. Their unscripted stuff will mostly premiere on streaming initially, but there's a clear hint that, successful shows could definitely migrate over to linear TV.
Okay, so with that clear brand focus, who are they trying to reach? Who's the main target, and is that shifting at all?
So the core, historically, is women 45 and over. But yeah, they are actively working now to broaden that. They want a more diverse viewership. They're even encouraging multi-generational co-viewing, trying to bring families together to watch. It's a smart way to grow that loyal base they have.
Right, build on the base. And beyond just the feel, what specific themes are they telling producers? Hey, bring us more of this. Any surprises there?
Well, the mandates list quite a few. Romance, finding love, weddings, celebrations, holidays, of course. Also home, but maybe not huge renovation shows, more like home life, also food, family, small town or hometown life, community, inspirational content, giving back, acts of kindness, and nostalgia.
Okay, quite a list. But here's what I found really interesting, that point about holidays.
Yeah. While holiday programming is obviously huge for them, a big part of their identity, they're strongly encouraging producers to think beyond the holidays. They want year-round unscripted ideas. It seems like a push to expand their footprint across the entire calendar.
That's a smart strategic shift, definitely. Build that year-round habit. So how do these big themes like food or community actually become specific show formats, especially for lifestyle or competition?
Good question. For lifestyle, they really emphasize food, gatherings, community activities.
Yeah.
And they often look for formats that need hosts, which makes sense, right? They can use their established talent. For competition and game shows, the focus is very much on family-friendly, nothing cutthroat. They mentioned a popular baking competition as a good example, more about participation, lighthearted fun, not, intense rivalry.
Okay. And for dating or relationship shows, I'm guessing it's all about that sweet PG-rated love story, focusing on the emotional journey, definitely steering clear of anything too sexual or catty or dark.
Exactly that, purely the emotional connection. And for their docuseries, they're looking for small-town stories, but with a high-concept driver. Things like saving a local business or building one. Yeah. True crime, interestingly, but specifically non-murder true crime. Family-owned businesses, multi-generational stories, and they really stress the unique connection they have with their audience. That brand perception for any talent involved is crucial because their fan base is incredibly loyal.
Okay, fascinating look at Hallmark. Now let's totally pivot. Let's switch gears to a completely different creative world, National Geographic and Nat Geo Wild. What are the key strategic points coming out of their mandates?
Right, a big shift. Their main focus seems to be on Big personalities, established franchises, and also funding opportunities.
Yeah.
They're quite open to alternative funding models, which is interesting. They want content with a really unique hook, a strong visual premise, an execution style you won't see elsewhere. They specifically said they want to avoid typical travelogues.
Right. So less about just the journey, more about a specific discovery or a really compelling person at the center of it.
Precisely. It's about insight, not just sightseeing.
And it sounds like they're being quite selective, only looking for a limited number of new green lights.
That's the message, yeah. Simplicity seems key, and short seasons typically like 6 to 8 episodes. The content really needs a clear so what factor. Why should people care? Plus, that unique visual style and strong talent. And they're open to talent even from non-documentary backgrounds, if they fit. Oh, and they also mentioned specific demographics becoming more of a focus, like the 26-year-old range, trying to bring in a younger audience, too.
That demographic note is interesting, and the budget seeing the numbers really tells a story about where the investment priorities lie, doesn't it? Can these tiers tell us something about their strategy?
Absolutely. Those budgets are a direct window. So for their mega blue chip projects, the biggest, most ambitious stuff, think Planet Earth style, they're allocating up to $1 million per hour. That really signals, their commitment to that core reputation for stunning high-stakes documentaries.
$1 million an hour. Wow.
Yeah, but then contrast that. $750 KLK per hour for character-driven content, $500 KLK per hour for non-recreatable stuff like observational docs, and $250K per hour for limited series. These lower tiers suggest they're also looking for maybe more experimental or lower-risk content, too, testing new formats, new talent, without, betting the entire farm on each one.
That makes sense. Diversification.
And they also have that big digital and YouTube presence. Is the content ask different there compared to the main channel?
Yes, definitely. For digital, they're specifically asking for content around food, health, adventure, wellness, science, and technology. More lifestyle adjacent, perhaps. And notably, they describe the first year for these digital initiatives as basically a green light phase in terms of budget, meaning modest budgets. But they're really eager to experiment and grow in that digital space. And, if we connect this broader strategic thinking, CNN's mandates also show a really interesting expansion beyond just traditional news. They're looking for a limited and franchised documentary series, focusing on things like contemporary history, pop culture, arts, literature, and crime.
So it's not just news docs. It's leveraging their journalistic reputation for something broader, distinguished, thought-provoking. But why this big push now into unscripted series?
Yeah, it seems multi-pronged. They want to provide compelling, journalistically sound stories, sure, but also offer wider context, different perspectives on subjects people are already interested in. They're definitely trying to leverage the existing interests of the CNN audience: history, comedy, music, true crime topics people already engage with. And it's all about aligning this with the CNN original series brand, known for that original reporting. It's partly about capitalizing on their brand strength, maybe their archives too, to tell bigger stories that go beyond just the daily headlines.
Competing in that premium doc space.
Exactly. They even cited some of their successful past series things covering historical events, big biographies, social topics to show the kind of style they're after.
And talent-wise, are they sticking to their known news personalities for these?
Actually, no. They specifically said they're seeking diverse talent beyond just the newsroom folks. The talent doesn't necessarily need to be like A-list famous, but they absolutely must have an authentic, genuine connection to the subject matter they're exploring. Oh, and they're also very open to co-productions, which is smart. Expands their reach and their resources.
Right, sharing the load. Okay, building on brand strength, but definitely stretching into new areas.
And then finally, we have Showtime. Their mandates point to a very, very specific niche. It's mostly limited, access-driven content. Often, they're working really closely with journalists, which suggests, deep dives, exclusive narratives.
Access-driven, working with journalists. Yeah, that definitely implies getting inside stories, maybe some investigative work. They mentioned a couple of their existing shows as examples. What do they mean, though, when they say they're interested in content at the intersection of premium and populist? That sounds intriguing.
It is a fascinating sweet spot they're aiming for. Basically, they want content that has those high production values, the sophisticated storytelling, the nuanced themes you associate with premium TV, but applied to a subject matter or with a hook that can appeal to a broader, more mainstream populist audience.
Okay, so like a really high-end documentary about a huge pop star or a deep investigation into a crime everyone was talking about.
Exactly like that. Highbrow execution, potentially broad appeal topic. They said they're open to most genres, but the key is that the narrative needs to feel strongly driven by a director's vision or just powerful storytelling.
Got it. And the budgets for these types of premium populist projects?
For full commissions, they're typically looking in the range of $300,000 to $325,000 per hour. So solid budgets. And like CNN, they're also highly interested in co-productions. They specifically mentioned this for science-related content, even giving specific budget ranges just for the U.S. rights. It really shows how they're being strategic about partnering up to bring in diverse, impactful stories without necessarily footing the entire bill themselves.
Okay, so we've looked at 4 really distinct players here. Hallmark's feel-good focus, Nat Geo's Discovery Quest, CNN branching out, Showtime's niche access. Quite diverse mandates. When you pull back and look at them all together, what larger patterns or maybe key takeaways jump out? Is there a common thread?
That's the big question, right? And despite all those differences, I think a common thread really does emerge. It's this pursuit of, well, authentic storytelling, maybe resonant storytelling, whether it's Hallmark wanting that relatable joy, or Nat Geo searching for genuinely unique discoveries, or CNN expanding into these thoughtful, context-rich documentaries, or Showtime digging deep for that exclusive access. Each one, in its own way, is looking for narratives that genuinely connect with an audience or reveal something truly new or insightful. And the other thing is how deliberate it all is. The emphasis on specific talent traits, those carefully tailored budgets reflecting priorities, the strategic use of different platforms, it really highlights how meticulously these companies are curating their content now. They're trying to match both audience demand and their own specific brand identity.
Yeah, that curatorial aspect is really clear.
Hey, Angela Marie Hutchinson here again. Thanks for listening. If you have thoughts or feedback, I definitely want to know. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Take care.